Step by Step French Part 8. Kindly watch the previous videos. Words in English ending in ance and ence, most of them come from French. For instance, difference in English is called in French as différence. Différence. Notice that E accent with accent. Différence. Preference in English, for instance, in French it is called préférence. Préférence. Importance in English, for instance, words ending in ance, you have the same spelling in French, but you pronounce it as importance. Importance. Influence in French is called influence in English. How do you pronounce it in French? Notice influence. Influence. The difference in French, the difference in English, the same word in French is pronounced as la différence. La différence. La is the definite article, feminine one. La différence. A difference. For instance, a difference of English, in French it is called une différence. Une différence. For instance, how do you say what difference in French? What difference? What difference in French is called quelle différence. Quelle différence. The word what or which in French it is called, they have both masculine and feminine forms. For instance, masculine form for what is quel. 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 For instance, the preference in French is called, let us see, la préférence. La préférence. A preference of English is called in French une préférence. Une préférence. How do you say now in French what preference? What preference? Here what is a feminine one, therefore it becomes quelle préférence. Quelle préférence. Have you or do you have in French we call it as avez-vous. Avez-vous. Here vous is the respectable form of you. Avez-vous. How do you say do you have a preference in French? Do you have a preference? Think and say avez-vous une préférence? Avez-vous une préférence? How do you say now? What preference do you have? What preference do you have? Think and say quelle préférence avez-vous? Quelle préférence avez-vous? Now, a little bit complicated one, but not difficult. How do you say in French, for what restaurant do you have a preference tonight? For what restaurant do you have a preference tonight? Pour quel restaurant avez-vous une préférence ce soir? Pour quel restaurant avez-vous une préférence ce soir? Merci. Thank you. ధన్యవాదములు.